And we're back at Stories from the River. Manny, welcome back.
It's good to be back. Good to be back. Thanks for having me back, Charlie.
Welcome to Stories from the River, a show in which we go behind the scenes at Broad River Retail.
We're here Friday, September 1st, and we wanted to talk about the week that was, this past week. We had a really big week. We just spent some time talking about the open house and the opening of Salisbury and that new store. And so now we also had another big event this week, which was the second annual Home Furnishings Expert Soirée. So let me set this up for just a second.
Please do.
Yeah, we had our first annual Home Furnishings Expert Soirée late August last year, tied around 3 grand opening events. So I want to get into like what is an expert soirée and who all attends. And then so this year, because our word of the year is elevate, we really, and I've got my elevate shirt here, pull over, we really want to challenge ourselves. How can we make it bigger? How can we take it to the next level? So let's just start with what in the world is a Home Furnishings Expert Soirée?
That's a great question. And thanks for having me back. It's always exciting when we get to talk about our weeks. They kind of all feel like they're all big weeks. We all have things going on. And so this past week was a really exciting one. So this soiree, why do we have this? What is it? Well, really, it's time to come together and celebrate and recognize our best, recognize our home furnishing experts that really lead the way with how they go about their business, how they go about their performance. And so we love celebrating them. We of course have always enjoyed pausing and taking them out to celebrate them. But our Memory Maker Experience team over the years, and really started last year when we had our first big event, as you mentioned, in conjunction with just 3 ribbon cuttings, 3 grand openings. They've really set out a path, a vision to really make such a meaningful event, right? To where our experts not only are celebrated and recognized, but that we could add different elements to that reception, to that night. And so yeah. But it's not just our experts that we get to celebrate and recognize. We also get to celebrate and recognize and spend time with our partners that come in from all over the U.S. That work alongside us every day to help make this a special place. They too are here to recognize our experts, and we in turn, of course, want to recognize them for just being there, being present.
So what is exactly? I hear recognition, recognize, and celebrate over and over. But what is a soiree?
What is a soiree? That's a great question. Well, a soiree is an evening. It was an evening event where we get to come together and put on your Sunday's best, and we get to maybe show up a little bit differently than we normally would. Sure. We don't wear our pullovers, and so yes, it's a time to really come together and enjoy a great meal, a great event, and celebrate.
Okay, so last year it was our first ever Home Furnishings Expert Soirée, and helped support it with our partners, our premier partners. And it was at Oak Steakhouse, and we had about 130 people total.
That's correct.
And do you recall how many experts we had last year?
Experts last year, over 40 experts, I believe. Or
I don't think I think we had more this year.
We had more this year. Yeah. So maybe it was just close to 30.
Yeah. And I think we have a new experts class every 6 months. And so we have an annual gala, whatever you want to call it. And that's our annual awards gala in January. But with our new experts class being introduced at the mid-year mark, and then getting ready for the back half of the season, that 90-day, 100-day tentpole to tentpole, Labor Day to Black Friday, when there's a lot of business to be done and a lot of hard work to do. We want to give them a little bit extra boost and a little bit extra recognition and celebration and motivation and momentum going into those tentpole weeks and weekends that you're going to have from Labor Day through Black Friday.
That's right.
Which include are buttressed by 2 Moneyball months. September's a Moneyball month for us, as is November, right? And so we had the first one at Oak Steakhouse, 130 people or so, and it went great. We bought out that restaurant. And then so this year we said, how can we make it larger and bigger and elevated? And we looked at a couple of different finalists, but we ended up going with Steak 48. Now, what was our total tally on how many people could we hold at Steak 48?
We could hold right where we ended up, 175 folks there at Steak 48.
So 175 people, so about 40, 45 more people than last year. And so who else got to attend this year who didn't attend last year?
Yeah, well, one of the great ways to elevate, and again, our Memory Maker Experience team is so dialed in here to when they're charged with, hey, how do we elevate this event? Mm-hmm. Well, we had a great venue. Steak 48 is the premier steakhouse here in Charlotte. And so for a lot of our partners and memory makers, some of them, this is the first time getting to experience it, which was really meaningful and special. But what added on to it, so we had some more spaces to fill. And so what we decided to do, which was a recommendation from our MMX team, was to allow our experts to bring a +1, to bring someone that's special to them. And so it was really nice to be able to meet everyone from husbands and wives and daughters and sons and friends. And so it was nice to have them celebrate this special occasion with a loved one.
Yeah, it was great to see someone's daughter and say, hey, your dad is a legend. That's right. He does such a great job for us. Or someone's partner and say, hey, thank you for letting them do what they do at work and being there by their side. And so that was great. But, some of the +1s were a little bit surprising, right? It was a friend at work who they wanted to say, hey, this person also kind of supports me at work and I want them to get a taste of what this type of event is. So I was surprised by how many +1s they said, they brought a coworker there, which I thought was really, really cool.
Very nice. Very, very nice.
And last year, the main hotel was across the street. They had to actually cross the street. The event goes 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. And so this year in the same parking lot, we partnered with the Hyatt Centric and got a room block. So aside from the rain that kind of hit during it, we got people to and from very easily.
Yes.
And so, it was packed. It was a packed house. Last year was a cocktail attire. This year was a semi-formal cocktail attire. So we elevated the dress. And so everyone kind of puts on, I think you called it their Sunday best. And the whole restaurant, in Steak 48, you call it the best steakhouse in town. I think it's the premier restaurant right now in the Carolinas, not just steakhouse. It's elite, and they do a phenomenal job. And so we went to the best of the best. We went to an elevated experience. And then talk about the menu that was, it wasn't just like, appetizer and entree and dessert, but go into the menu a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I hope Steak 48 is sponsoring this podcast because, or at least this episode, because that's high praise coming from I know you're a strong foodie, so to say that they're the best restaurant in the Carolinas, that's pretty impressive. It'd be hard to fight that. And they showed up. They part of elevating this year was to ensure that we had some great options. And so, from the get-go, from the mingling reception when we got there, a new feature that was exciting was we had a caviar bar. So not my cup of tea, but maybe you partaked and enjoyed some of the caviar. But it was a beautiful ice sculpture by our friends over at TD Bank, and I got a lot of great feedback from folks saying, I've not tried it before, but it's delicious, and they loved it. So they were a lot more courageous than I.
Yeah, they had a great caviar bar. Then they had hors d'oeuvres passed throughout. Some of it just like crab cakes and strip sirloin steak, and there was a ton of.
I missed them. We were mingling, but yes, the feedback on all of it was amazing. The menu is amazing. Yeah. One of the intentionalities of everything that was selected. The options on the menu. I was sitting with some of our friends from Synchrony Bank, and they were like, "This has got to be a misprint." Because it was a 12-ounce filet and it was a 22-ounce ribeye. I'm getting hungry just thinking about it.
Well, before you got to the entrees, though, we talked about the hors d'oeuvres passed around, and
you want to go to Seafood Tower? Is that
we also had these great tokens here.
Okay.
Which everyone got 3 tokens, so you could get three cocktails, 3 premium cocktails throughout the night. No more than that, because we want to be safe and responsible. And but they're beautiful. I'll get into what the design says on them. But then the appetizers, the starters. You had the most luxurious seafood tower, and they served them all at the same time. And then you had this delicious burrata that was to accompany the seafood tower. I think maybe there's also calamari. And so then after you got into that, then you got into the salads, the next course, which were the salads, the superfood salad or the Caesar salad. Yep. And then you got into a plethora of entree options from beef or seafood. The Chilean sea bass I heard was delicious. The rack of lamb, which was very creatively prepared. Your strip or your massive strip or your fillet, which was, and then to bring them all out perfectly cooked to how people wanted them at the same time. They had their entire staff there.
That was amazing.
With us that evening, and then the desserts, either the s'mores or the warm vanilla caramel cake, which was I went into the room where you could see behind the glass wall all the food being prepared at once. It's like, I don't know how you guys can stare at this all night, 'cause it's mouth watering and it looks delicious. So you had that going on. So it was an amazing meal. It was just amazing time. It was an amazing chance to kind of celebrate. The entire restaurant was booked and bought out exclusively for Broad River Retail for that evening. And then our partners, you mentioned TD Bank, you mentioned our Elevate partner, Synchrony Financial, who was there with us. I mean, who were some of the other partners who flew in and who joined us for the evening?
Well, table number one was Riverstone. So we got to have some fun with our partners that handle our last mile delivery. And I actually got a brief stint of sitting at that table, and then of course moved around a little bit just to say hello to some of our partners. But we had so many amazing folks there. I mean, our friends from TSI, from Temper Sealy, of course, were with us. We had our folks that came in from all parts of the U.S., from our friend Billy Lindler from USSI, who I was just with a couple of weeks ago down in Tampa for their summit. So they came in town. We had our good friends.
Cadence Bank.
They flew in from Houston.
JP Morgan Chase was there. Willis Towers Watson was there. Purple Innovation was there. And Risk Assurance Partners, Doug Wright and his team was there. And
Bedgear.
Storis, LS Direct, and I think Empower Package.ai, some new partners who hadn't been with us before. And
the Raging Cajun from Louisiana, Mike Belanger flew up. Corby's and Nelson, thank you so much.
And Qualtrics was there. So we had some new partners, some of the ones who have been with us over the years. And so it was great to have our partners and for them to see the best of the best. Now, 39 experts this year, which is the most we've ever had. And their plus ones got to attend. Now, is it easier or harder to be an expert than $1 million writer, or as we refer to them, as $1 million memory maker at Broad River Retail?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's actually much harder. First of all, being $1 million memory maker is an amazing milestone, an amazing achievement, and so it starts there. But then these are kind of like the special ops. These are the best of the best who not only can write the volume, but know how to write it in such a meaningful way. And so there's a criteria that they, of course, have to achieve within that 6-month time period. And then for that, hitting that achievement, they become experts in that space. And so that's how we develop that career path and having that ultimate level of being an expert.
Yeah. So, I mean, last year we had $94 million memory makers, over a sales staff of close to 300, right?
That's right.
So almost 1 out of 3. But then we had 39 experts. So it's about 2.5 times, maybe even 3 times more difficult, because you can't just be $1 million memory maker. You got to hit on all different metrics and levels. But with that, you get elevated commissions, elevated bonuses, elevated paid time off. I think at $50 an hour, you get your designated parking spot out front. You get all kinds of gear and celebrate it. And you get the Home Furnishings Expert Soirée. And so what Stacy always says, is, hey, when he joined this company, there's a lot of great things about it. But one of the things was this career pathing. Well, let me take a step back. We believe in career pathing.
We do.
It's just core to our DNA. We believe in this human capital mindset and career pathing for everyone. Where are you? Where's your next role? How are you planning to go? Because not only does recognition and celebration matter, not only does compensation matter, not only does benefits matter to or work-life balance and things of that nature, but progress matters. Progress over stasis. And people want to know that they're progressing in their career and have a chance to move up. And what we used to see is on the sales floor, there was no progress. It was complete stasis. It was complete, like, next to death. Like, okay, you could be powering this great retail economy and you have the exact same title, retail sales associate, as the person who joined 90 minutes ago. It's not fair, and it's just not right. And so we're kind of on this mission to change that, to inspire, encourage our fellow retail other companies and organizations, change it.
That's right.
Do it differently. And so we elevate it. So you come in as a home furnishings associate, then you earn the right and you get promoted and you move up to a home furnishings consultant. Then you earn the right, you move up to a home furnishings professional. And all that comes with elevated bonus and elevated commission tiers. But then you earn the right to be kind of the best of the best, the elite special forces, if you will, the creme de la creme, to be a home furnishings expert at Broad River Retail.
Yes.
And they're the best of the best. And they lead the way for us, and they want to be an expert every single time because they know we're going to treat them really, really well. They're going to make really good money. They're going to be rewarded for their efforts. And what else? What else would you chime in here?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's that mindset. So it starts with that mindset, it starts with that vision. And you're right. It's also a mindset of just continuous improvement. And so our experts aren't going to rest on just, they're constantly talking to other experts, and they're great examples, great mentors for others to see the what ifs, the possibilities. A career in sales is highly rewarding, highly rewarding. But the key there is the career and understanding that there's multiple steps.
Good. Yeah. So,
right?
Sorry to cut you off, but that's you're on point there. A career you can have, it's not a transition point.
Correct.
You chose sales. It's important. It powers the entire company and companies in retail. Let's acknowledge that. Let's praise it. Let's recognize it. Let's celebrate it. Let's lift it up. Let's elevate it, because you've got this awesome career in sales, and it's super, super important. And that's not been done before, to our knowledge, in the way that we do it.
That's right. Yeah. Well, so, and that's important in our industry, because to that point, there's too many, I think about this podcast, there's too many stories out there. There's too many stories of amazing home furnishing experts, professionals, consultants that made a conscious decision to enter into this career, and through their mindset of continuous improvement, of getting better each day, focusing on each day, they've done some amazing things, and we get to see those and listen to those stories every day at Broad River Retail. And so, yes, it's not just because, well, there's been a change and I need to go take this sales job because it's the best. Like, no, like, it's something to get excited about. It's something to get excited about because look at the numerous amount of stories out there of folks that are doing such an amazing job. And so, again, for us, it's all part of the greater vision of furnishing life's best memories, and we choose to do that by being really, really intentional and really, really coordinated with how we set out career paths.
Yeah, and they do it the right way, right? So their secret sauce is the best of the best. Their sleep sales have to be premier, and then their VIP program, the credit applications, right? That's got to be really, really strong. That's the single greatest unlock we have in our business.
Yes, it is.
And they have to lead by our sales process, doing it the right way, right? We're never asking you to do something that is not right.
That's right.
But draw the room and connecting with your guests and leveraging CXM and inviting them to our special events and our programs. That's what they do.
That's right.
And they get rewarded and recognized for that. So they do it the right way, and there's something special about that. And nobody tells us that we have to do a soiree. You mentioned this word intentionality. We do it because we choose to do it.
That's right.
Like, we don't have to do a soiree. We don't have to go bring in our partners and go spend few $100,000 to put on a massive event like this. It wouldn't make sense on a P&L, but it makes sense on culture, and culture drives everything else. It makes sense on the momentum. Like, our comp plan, in a lot of ways, on how we reward our retail staff wouldn't make sense on a P&L in our industry. But guess what? Our results outpace, we think, a lot of the industry, and we get that because of things that don't make traditional sense. We just over-index on letting it be a meritocracy, and then rewarding the best of the best, and treating them the way we wish we would be treated if we were in those positions. So
well said.
So that's really, really important to us, and we got to challenge ourselves to kind of do more. And how can we creatively do more? And I have no doubt that our MMX team and our leaders will come up with more ideas and more bouts of fits of inspiration, Your experience at the soiree is probably similar to mine. I think I had about 100 3-minute conversations. So the only thing I would probably say is, how can I, be able to kind of connect with more people and see more people? But when I was asked to give a toast at that at the event, and I said, "Hey, does everyone remember what I said? The 3 things that we have to do at this event?" And they were all shouting, "Draw the room!" And Stacy was happy about that. Or they were shouting out sales process phrases. I said, "Well, no, it was going to have fun, and number 1, come hungry. Maybe skip lunch. Come hungry because it's going to be a lot of food. Have fun. Make sure you just have a really good time, a memorable time. Of course, be safe goes along with that." And then the third one was put a hurting on these guys. Being Steak 48, let's make sure that we eat all of our food that we see. So I indulged in the dessert. I ate it all. They kept trying to take it away before I was done. I was like, no, just hang on a second.
Which dessert did you select?
I went with the warm caramel cake. It was amazing. Which one did you get?
I think I did the same one.
I don't think you ate much of yours.
Well.
Last year. I went and paid for it the next morning, and I went for a good run to try to punish myself for all that warm vanilla cake, but it was well worth it.
It was.
Well, anything else? Any other final words on the soiree?
No, I'd say, again, a special thanks to Heather and to the Memory Maker Experience team for putting on such an intentional, the mission was, hey, we have to elevate it. And so it's, mission accomplished, right? Mission accomplished. Our memory makers that attended, our home furnishing experts, they felt loved. I hope they felt well cared for. We enjoyed our time with them. We're thankful for the partners that we get to do business with every day. And so it was a beautiful event. And I am super excited to see what 2024 version of this is going to look like.
Yeah, and we had a professional photographer and we had a professional videographer crew from Spiracle. And later this month, we'll release the Essence video, the recap video from this event. And so if just us talking about it on this episode isn't enough to get someone excited to be an expert and to be at the one next year, where I'm sure we'll go above and beyond what we did this year, the video recap will as well. And we'll figure out how to take it to the next level. So Manny, thanks for joining me here.
Thank you, Charlie.
Carving out time out of your busy day to join me here on Stories from the River. That's it on the the second annual Home Furnishings Expert Soirée that we held at Steak 48 on this past August 29th, 2023. We'll see what we can do next year. Thanks for joining us. Catch us wherever you catch your podcast on YouTube. We're on video and or on Amazon, Google, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts, or any of the standard podcast players. And thanks for joining us every week. We try to bring you fresh new content and stories from the river.
Thanks for listening to Stories from the River. To check out more episodes, visit storiesfromtheriver.com. Join us again next week, and remember to like, rate, and subscribe to the podcast.